Which is really probably the rarest one that we got on this trip.
It was the one we had to work the hardest for.
Yeah. Welcome to 433 and Beyond, a channel where we talk about places that we go, things that we collect while we're there, and other things that we notice along the way. My name's Andrew, and I'm here with my daughter.
I'm Arwen.
Today, where are we?
We are in Mount Jackson, Virginia.
Which is near
Shenandoah National Park.
So we are here collecting stamps from the Civil War sites in the region as well as the park itself.
Yeah.
So one lesson that we partially learned from our DC adventure was that our plans are more ambitious than what reality allows us to do. So
because we like to sit and paint and watch birds and take pictures, we aren't stamping for the sake of stamping. We like to stop and experience.
Right. Today's a good example. So today is Wednesday. How many stamps did you get today? 6?
I don't know.
10? A fair amount. But we stopped at 3 different museums. And we could have just gone in and, stamped. But that's not who we are. We went around each of those museums.
Yeah. So Sunday, we drove in. You from Pittsburgh, me from Philadelphia.
Right. We can show a little map. If we were cool, we would have a map with little cars on it, like the listeners.
Yeah, maybe I'll try to have little cars.
Little people. My little doodles. I can do you my little stick doodles.
Doodles. Yeah, we can
We
do
can
that.
just move them on a
Yeah,
map. That would
let's
be
do
easy
that.
to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might even try to do that. That might be kind of cute.
You should.
Yeah.
So Ash and I, on our way here before we met up with you, stopped in Frederick, Maryland.
Yeah.
Went to the Frederick Visitor Center. We've already visited Frederick, and we looked around the visitor center a little bit, and we got our first stamp, which was for the Journey Through Hallowed Ground National Historic Area.
For Frederick.
For Frederick. So the problem is, I want to say for the group, for the Journey Through Hallowed Ground, group of stamps. But if you use parkstamps.org, if you're part of the National Travelers Club, NPTC,
yeah,
group means something I think a little bit different. But in my mind, like, those are part of that.
The thematic
part of that
taxonomy.
theme. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got Frederick before we even met up.
This is an ongoing problem that we have, right? The coherence of the taxonomy of the National Park Service indicates that whoever runs it doesn't think about these things.
Yeah. One thing that was fun in Frederick, and I'll put a picture of this in, is that they were very lovely at that visitor center, very helpful, very enthusiastic about what we were doing. They pulled the stamp out still in its box. So I took a picture of the box that the stamp comes in.
Why do they have a new one?
I don't think it was new. I think that's where they store it. They keep it behind the desk. Insider knowledge.
So that's good. So then we converged outside of Red Robin.
We converged outside of Red Robin. Why? You may ask, did we converge outside of Red Robin?
Why?
That was because...
Aside from the gourmet brews and burgers, which we didn't partake in.
There is a Red Robin parking lot in Winchester, Virginia, within what once was Rutherford's farm.
Right. You can park behind the Red Robin, and there is the historic site of Rutherford's farm.
Yeah.
Was Rutherford's farm actually a stamp?
Yes, which is why we went.
Right. Why we went. Why else would we find our way
to
a parking lot by a,
shopping center.
But it used to be a farm that then was a focal point for the Rutherford's for the battle, right? What was the battle?
Rutherford's Farm.
Rutherford's Farm battle, yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And we knew that I knew that that was one of the stamps that was going to be available at the Winchester Visitor Center. So as part of our rule that you must go to the location before you get the stamp. We faced this same problem in DC too, where because there were places, monuments without people staffing them, like monuments on the side of the road, you had to go somewhere else to get the stamp, and we would not get the stamp for a monument we hadn't been to. This is the same spirit.
Same question,
yeah, we went to Rutherford's Farm because otherwise we weren't going to get that stamp.
So then we drove 10 minutes, whatever, to Winchester. Took the dogs for a walk. Got some nice footage.
Yeah, took the dogs for a nice walk
Started
on the
listening to some
Winchester
birds,
battlefield.
Right.
Yeah, we have been inspired by a documentary here on YouTube called Listers.
Yeah. I have to think that the Venn diagram between the people watching this video, you guys, and the people who've watched Listers is practically a circle.
Yeah, and if you haven't, you should.
You go watch it.
It is really great, and it has inspired us to try some bird watching this trip and otherwise.
It's a perfect overlap, really.
It
National
really is.
parks and birding.
And it's another great way to be very mindful in the places that you visit. Even in a random parking lot, there are birds.
Yeah, little brown birds.
Little chickadees.
All right.
That's a joke from Listers. You can go watch it. Then you'll get it.
You need to watch it a couple times.
So then we drove to Winchester. Yes, we took the dogs on a walk.
Yeah.
Lovely. Did a little loop down to the marsh there, the wetlands.
But yeah, the little creek where at one point I think the southern troops were chasing the northern troops through them, or the other way around. One group was chasing the other.
Oh, you're thinking of Fisher's Hill.
Oh, right.
But probably they did that
you gotta
there
imagine,
too.
you look at all these places, these parking lots and creeks and hills, and at some point there were 20,000 people chasing each other, shooting at each other.
It's a very historical area.
Yeah, the battlefields are preserved. I mean, I know it's not true 100% of the, obviously not, but since Red Robin is in there. But as you drive around here, the fields of the actual battles are preserved.
Yeah, it's really...
So you can stand, and we notice they'll have a thing, and they'll say, "You are here," and it's essentially the same as it was, however long ago the Civil War was, 200 years ago, 100 years.
It was very impactful. And at that Battlefield Visitor Center, there were some stamps that we got for the battlefields. Mm-hmm. And then we went to the Winchester Frederick County Visitor Center.
Oh, right, that's right.
And got the Visitor Center stamp.
Right. That's on the Shenandoah University campus.
Yeah, which I didn't
know there was a Shenandoah University,
And those were our stamps on Sunday.
Yep. So Monday our plan was to really take it easy, right? Not really do anything. Get used to the house, let our dogs decompress a little bit. We have 3 dogs with us, and they're all neurotic in their own ways. So we thought we'd give them a chance to settle in.
Yeah.
But then Monday afternoon we got a burst of energy and drove out to Luray Caverns.
Yes, and we walked through the caverns, went to their little museum, the museum that they have on site.
And the stamp is for the museum, not the caverns.
Museum, not the caverns.
Yeah. Caverns were amazing. It was like Notre Dame underneath the earth.
Yeah. It was really beautiful. And you would think that they would have the stamp for the caverns. But you may be reminded that this stamp Luray Caverns is not a national park site. This stamp theme is the Shenandoah Battlefields National Historic District. So the stamp is for the museum, which talks about the history of the area.
Oh, that's okay. That
Like,
makes
it does
sense,
make sense when you think. I think certainly the people that helped us get the stamp were expecting us to want a stamp for the caverns. So I'm sure that that's what they run into all the time. But it does make sense that
because the caverns aren't the national park.
Exactly. They're not
owned by
a core
private
site.
corporation, right?
They're not a core site of the National Park Service. And this was, a lot of what we're doing this trip is capturing part of this National Historic District, which is a more thematic grouping.
Right. Okay.
So that was Monday.
So the Skyline Drive is a parkway that goes through the
Yeah, it's
Shenandoah Park.
the only road you can drive through the national park.
And you can only get in and out at 3 or 4 locations.
Yeah.
So you have to really think through your entry and exit points. Otherwise, you're stuck.
Yeah.
We had thought about doing the entire Skyline Drive, but that's not a goal.
No, we had thought about doing the whole thing in a drive.
Yeah.
We had thought about doing it in 2 chunks. And originally, on Tuesday, we were going to enter at, I think, Thornton Gap and go all the way down to the end of the southern tip, and then come back to Mount Jackson. But then, luckily, I checked the one visitor center, Harry Bird Visitor Center. We really would like to go there because the other big visitor center, Dickey Ridge, is closed, I think, for the season. So we really want to go to this visitor center. We were going to go past it on Skyline Drive on Tuesday, but they weren't open on Tuesday. So
Right.
we said, okay, instead we'll do the top chunk of Skyline Drive, thinking we'll do the top chunk, top third Tuesday, and then we'll do the bottom 2/3 later this week.
Right.
So we did the top chunk. On our way to Shenandoah, on our way to Skyline Drive, we tried to get stamps for Cedar Creek and Belle Grove National Historic Park. Unsuccessfully because I didn't understand the difference.
Everything's closed on a Tuesday, and many things are closed until the season starts. So the season opens actually on Friday this week.
We didn't really
plan this week with that in mind. And it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
We went to the locations on Tuesday.
And I think we went to the wrong location. I'll take responsibility for part of it, which is that I think I took us.
I don't think we were in the wrong location. We were at the right location at the wrong time.
Yeah.
We were at the right location, and then when we went to the place to get the stamp, they were closed.
Yes, we went to Fisher's Hill.
Yeah.
Because Fisher's Hill is one of the stamps. But then when we went to get the actual stamp for Fisher's Hill,
The office was closed.
the office was closed.
So we're going to get those on the way out Friday morning as we all go
Because
out.
we're also going to go to a couple other places, and we'll maybe make a short about Cedar Creek and Belle Grove in particular, because it's not easy to understand. But we did go to Belle Grove on Tuesday.
Okay, yeah. We will. We'll do a 3-minute Cedar Creek Belle Grove special video.
Yeah.
Because in its own way, it's as complicated as the DC Mall.
Yeah.
And certainly the same kind of questions.
Yeah.
So Tuesday was a day for birding and watercoloring.
But we did go to Belle Grove.
We did go to Belle
and
Grove.
get a stamp at Belle Grove.
Yep.
We got 2 stamps at Belle Grove. We got one of the core site stamps for the Cedar Creek and Belle Grove National Historic Park. And we got a Belle Grove Plantation stamp for the Shenandoah Valley Battlefields National Historic District.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
And
That's
then-
right, that was nice. We went there.
Yeah.
I'd already forgotten we went to that Belle Grove Plantation. It was very nice. It was very
Nice little gift shop.
little gift shop, nice, well put together little museum. Just a big hallway, really, but
Yeah.
it was nice.
I think there's also a house you can tour, which we did not do. But we walked around,
Yep.
did some painting.
So you have a list on Tuesday. So we went to a
And
bunch of
then
places.
we went to the park, though.
Yeah.
After Belle Grove, we did go to the park. And we drove from Front Royal to Thornton Gap on Skyline Drive.
Right. So I learned 2 things.
Okay.
Thornton Gap, if you're coming from the east as a pioneer, you would need to go through Thornton Gap to get through the Shenandoah Mountains. And then because of that, during the Civil War, one of the reasons why the Shenandoah Valley has so many of these sites is that it really was crucial for the supplies that could be grown in the valley, the very fertile valley, and the ability to transport them around. But that gap, that shaped Thornton Gap, is one of those geological features that has shaped history around it.
Yeah. And Skyline Drive was beautiful.
The Skyline Drive is about 100 miles total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we drove about the top third.
Yeah, the top third.
You said you learned two things. What was the second thing?
Front Royal tomorrow, Thursday, the British royal family, not the whatever the king
and Queen.
not the whole family.
King Charles
Right.
and
King Charles and Queen Camilla are going to be in Front Royal, and our theory is why there. The only reason we could think of is because it says Royal. It's Front Royal, and they were looking at the map and said, "Oh, we should go to where it says Royal." So there you go.
That's our prediction. But Skyline Drive was lovely. And
We stopped at many overlooks.
yeah, I did not realize how many overlooks there would be, both official named overlooks and nice little pull-off points. We didn't do any hiking. It was a very, accessible. You did not have to trek to get beautiful, beautiful views.
Right. And we did some birding.
We did some serious birding.
You actually, what's the word? You didn't just identify the bird. You spotted it,
I really did spot the bird.
and then got the knocks.
I heard it on Merlin, the app. We'll talk more about that in our birding video, bird watching for beginners video, because this really was our first foray. I heard it. I said, I think that's my bird. I saw it. I found it on the binoculars, and then I helped everybody else find it.
It's just this little blue,
Beautiful little
dot.
indigo bunting.
And then when you look through, there it is, the indigo bunting. I'm never going to forget that. It's like a real bird. Someone said, "Look over there." No, look there, down there. There it was.
And that was very exciting.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of that. We stopped at many overlooks and did a lot of painting and bird watching. It was very nice.
It was nice.
And what it helped us realize is that we like stopping and looking at the overlooks, and we don't want to try to drive 60 miles of Skyline Drive in one day, even though we could do it. Why would we do that?
Yeah.
We're going to focus instead on driving the next 30 miles on Thursday.
Right, because we really want to go to the Harry
F Bird.
the Harry F. I keep saying Larry Bird, because famous basketball player.
Exactly. Perfect.
Um,
We really want to go to the visitor center.
It just occurred to me, that guy we saw when we first went into the park, like at mile 0, the first 3 miles were all uphill, and we saw some guy on a bicycle. And I was thinking, oh, that's nice, he's on vacation. But maybe he was actually going to do the whole length.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe he'd arranged for one of his friends to meet him
Come
down
pick him up.
at the southern tip. And he was just going to do 100 miles in a day, which is
Doable.
if you're,
Oh,
a lunatic. So
Yeah.
that was yesterday was very successful.
Yeah, Tuesday, very successful. On our way back from Thornton Gap to from Thornton Gap to Mount Jackson, we stopped quickly in Newmarket and we went to the headquarters of the Shenandoah Valley Battlefields National Historic District.
That's right. Yeah.
Which was in a lovely little cafe, sweet little shop, nice little spot, little museum display as well.
Yeah, we actually saw some field binoculars
From a Confederate
from
general.
a Confederate general that are just like the ones that we use.
Just like ours. Ours are a little nicer.
They're more comfortable.
Yeah. And we got the headquarters stamp.
Yeah.
Today, Wednesday, we intended to have a bit more of a relaxed day. We had more time in the Airbnb in the morning, more time with our dogs. And then we hit a few museum stops.
Right. So today was a stamp heavy day.
Yeah. we started with the Edinburgh Mill.
Right, which is just what it sounds like. It's a historical building.
Although far more interesting than you would maybe think just from hearing the name.
Yeah, it had 3 floors of stuff, right? Like, this is the coolest thing. I think one thing we recognized for each of the museums that we went, these aren't like the Smithsonian Museum, right? It's like some person at some point collected a whole boatload of stuff and then put it out for people to see.
And that has its pros and cons.
Yeah. What are they?
I
mean, the
think
pros are that it's crazy, it's wild.
it's interesting and it's a lot of stuff. And it's like anecdotal. Like there's a lot of, it's annotated.
Yeah. It's like a memoir
Sure.
more than a paper.
Yeah.
The cons are like the one we went to, the second one we went to. So the Edinburgh Mill was great. Some guy had obviously collected just a bunch of Civil War stuff and
Bunch of cool maps.
Cool maps that lit up when you hit buttons, like old, not computer maps, but
Yeah.
paper mache maps.
Here's the top of it. We have the Shenandoah River.
Classic.
Classic. We have the North Fork of the Shenandoah River and the South Fork of the Shenandoah River. Another light up map of railroads. Railroads before and during the Civil War. Built after the Civil War. Okay, so they extended it out. So before, after. The dinky, narrow gauge railroad. Railroad depots and stations. Incorporated towns.
With lights in them. And you obviously had a whole stack of Red Cross stuff.
Yeah.
Then the second one, which was the Museum
The
of...
Newmarket Battlefield Museum.
Which was in a big old house. And apparently the guy still lives in the house and the museum is his basement. But it's...
You wouldn't know that from
Yeah.
the outside. It's a big, beautiful building.
The way I put it as we were leaving was I'm glad that our museum entry fees are going to support the remnants of the dream of the Confederacy, because that's really what it feels like.
It does. It's hard to separate that, I think, from when you're in a Confederate
Yeah.
area.
Right.
Like, where do you draw the line? Because it is also like
It is what
just
happened.
history.
here.
It is the
Yeah.
history of,
And these are the families who fought in the Confederacy.
yeah. So it's, I think also, I was going to say the con of these museums is that they don't have, it's like a pro and a con, but they don't have like a uniform standard for how they treat different artifacts. Like not everything is labeled. It's unclear sometimes what's an artifact and what's like, we printed this picture out.
Yeah.
Sometimes you would think that is an easy line to draw, but sometimes it isn't clear. Like,
Right.
where did this come from? What is it? Did you get these pictures printed on canvas and then put them
Or
in
they
frame?
right. So they had this this hallway with
Beautiful
Beautiful, like,
oil
yeah,
portraits.
portraits of Lee and his generals, and they look to me like the originals. But I've seen photos of some of these pictures, like the kind of pictures that you see on book covers, and they surely just can't be in this guy's basement. But I think they were.
Yeah,
So that was the second museum.
that was the second one, the Newmarket Battlefield and Battlefield Museum. So 2 stamps there, a stamp for the battlefield itself and a stamp for the Battlefield Museum.
Yeah.
The gentleman who was working at that museum was very nice and very enthusiastic and helpful.
Which I think is consistent across the board.
Yeah.
Then the third museum was the
Virginia Museum of the Civil War, which was a curated.
Yeah.
They were all curated, but it was a more formal
Owned and operated by the
VMI,
which is
Virginia Military Institute, I think.
and obviously appropriately because that battlefield was a site where an entire class of cadets were conscripted. It was towards the end of the war, and
went and fought.
They went and fought. Yeah. So obviously an important part of the heritage of that institution.
Yeah. And this is consistent with everything else that we have done with these stamps, but it truly we never would have gone to any of those places. Maybe Newmarket. We would not have gone to the other places if it were not for the stamps.
Right, we'd have gone to Newmarket because there was a nice coffee shop there.
Yeah, and I think we would have gone to the battlefield. I don't know if we would have gone to that museum.
No.
And we certainly would not have gone to the Edinburgh Mill. We wouldn't have gone to Belgrove. We wouldn't have gone to the Red Robin parking lot. I don't even think we would have gone to the Virginia Museum of the Civil War. I think we would have gone to a different. We've heard more about other museums in the area. Today was our last day on our trip. We're winding down for the evening now. We drove the middle third of Skyline Drive. And we went to the Harry Bird Visitor Center and Skylands and the Big Meadows little store. Got souvenirs and stamps. And
so just for those of you who are in the area, this is useful logistics. The hardest stamp that we got, and the hardest stamp to get, was the Luray, the National Park Luray stamp.
Yeah. The harder stamp is the Mobile Visitor Center, but that isn't out.
We didn't consider
it's not in season yet, so we couldn't even try to get that.
Just keep in mind that the Luray stamp is not available at Luray Cabins. It's available in the Shenandoah National Park at the entranceways, not at the visitor center. And our experience was that they won't give it to you if they don't like you. So we have a little footage here of how Ash really strategized this well to get the stamp.
And supposedly you can also get them at the park headquarters, but we went there and
we're told we couldn't go in.
There was a sign that said no visitor services, and we believed it and we didn't go in, which will never happen again.
So that so that Luray stamp, which is really probably the rarest one that we got on this trip.
It was the one we had to work the hardest for.
Yeah.
I think probably less people get the Shenandoah battlefield stamps. Where else did we go? We stopped at the Hardesty Higgins house in Harrisonburg.
Right. Excuse me.
The Hardesty Higgins house. I feel like people aren't. Those might be.
That's right. Yeah. But they're easy to get.
But they were easy to get.
You just get there and there they are.
Yeah.
So Friday was our last day. We spent the morning hanging out in the Airbnb, enjoying the end of our family vacation, but there were actually a lot of stamps that we were trying to get on our way out. On Tuesday, you may recall, we tried to get the Cedar Creek and Belle Grove National Historic Park stamps. And we were able to go to Belle Grove Plantation, but there are actually 4 locations that have stamps for that park. So on our way out, our goal was to get the rest of the stamps, starting with the Hups Hill Museum, which was a very sweet, lovely museum in a lovely park. We definitely could have spent like a whole day there walking around, having a picnic. But we spent some time looking around the museum. They had a very fun big map, which, I love. And lots of artifacts, lots of pictures. They had this huge oil painting that apparently 2 high school art teachers did for them that depicted a big swath of the Civil War. But all in all, really nice people, a really lovely museum, definitely worth the visit. And we were able to get our Hups Hill stamp. And finally, we were able to get our Fisher's Hill Battlefield stamp after going on Tuesday. So after the Hups Hill Museum, we went to the next stop, the Cedar Creek Battlefield Foundation headquarters, another lovely little museum that we were able to stop at. Beautiful scenery, nice people working there, a really nice little museum. And while we were there, we were able to get a few stamps for the park, for the battlefield, and a bonus stamp. So definitely a very successful stop, and one we wouldn't have thought to do otherwise. Our last stop for Cedar Creek and Belle Grove was to go to the National Park Service official visitor center for the park. And we had a few stamps we wanted to get there. We wanted to get the overall park stamp, the Battlefield Historic District stamp, the 250th stamp, but also there's an after hours box at this visitor center that has a 5th stamp, a Middletown stamp in it. So we also wanted to get that. This after hours box, a very nice park ranger helped us find, and it is literally in the parking lot. It has the stamps in it. You can change the date and do the stamp in case the visitor center is not open, which we did not know earlier in the week when we came in, they were closed. But we also got another version of the Historic District stamp where the stamp is a little bit funky. And on our way out of town, we went to the Kernstown Battlefield. This was really beautiful and huge. We definitely could have spent a whole day there. There were a ton of trails. It was dog friendly. There were a couple of museum displays and a house you could tour. The people working there were so friendly. Apparently it's run by all volunteers, and they were so eager to share knowledge with us and offered to give us tours. We had the dogs with us, so we decided just to walk around for a bit. We did look at the museum display, and it was really lovely. I would definitely come back. We got a couple of stamps here for the 1st and 2nd Kernstown battle, and overall was a really positive experience, and we would definitely come back to Kernstown. We parted ways with my parents in Kernstown, but on our way back to Philadelphia, Ash and I had plans to get a few more stamps, the first of which was at Long Branch Plantation. They actually weren't open for tours of the building the day we were there, but they graciously helped us find the stamp, and we were able to drive through the grounds, see some of the buildings. There's lots of livestock, and Ganush really enjoyed driving through and getting to sniff. Visiting a plantation like this is always really thought-provoking because we don't agree with some of the horrible things that have happened here, and you wouldn't necessarily know that they happened now looking at the property. And so it's always really important, we feel, to think about the history, engage with it, and yes, we can enjoy the beautiful scenery, but we can't disregard the history of the area. So it's always very thought-provoking, sparks some good conversations for us when we're visiting somewhere like this. And we were able to get our stamp, our last stamp for the Shenandoah Valley Battlefield National Historic District on this trip for the Long Branch Plantation. Next, we stopped at Monocacy Battlefield. Our first national park passport stamp was in Valley Forge, and so it's fun to come to another battlefield and see how it's different, how it's the same. Monocacy is really nice to drive around. They have a self-guided auto tour, which we did and really enjoyed. It let us get a bit more context for the battle and understand the different parts of it. Ganush really enjoyed driving around here too, getting lots of good sniffing in, and we were able to see a lot of the locations of the historic buildings, which is really helpful for this battle in particular because they changed hands back and forth throughout the course of the day. So it was helpful context to get to drive past a few of them. There are also a ton of trails in Monocacy, and we were able to stop at one of the auto tour stops, get out with the dog, stretch our legs, which was really nice in the middle of our drive to be able to stop and do that. It was really beautiful. It was a beautiful day. It was really quiet the day we were there. We were able to see some birds, although I couldn't get any videos of them, but it was really lovely. The trails were well maintained and beautiful. You could see the river, all of the fields. It was a really nice last stop on our trip, and of course we were able to get some stamps. We actually got several stamps here. We got a couple National Historic areas and the 250th stamp and the Monocacy stamp itself. So it was a great final stamp stop. And that brings us to the end of our trip. We were able to get a lot of stamps on this trip. Let's run through them. We got a few for some National Historic areas. I want to put a bit more thought into these areas. They represent really important themes and through lines through some National Park Service sites, and they span a lot of states. They're really big historic areas and cover a lot of ground, so I definitely want to put some more thought into these. But this trip was a nice way to get a couple of stamps for a couple of these areas for Journey Through Hallowed Ground and the Underground Railroad Freedom Network, and I look forward to getting more. We also got several bonus stamps and 4 250 stamps. We are not making a huge effort to collect as many 250 stamps as we can, but it is fun to get some and add them to our passport while we have it. Of course, the kind of meat and potatoes of this trip were some of the bigger national park sites and Shenandoah National Park itself, and so it was good to get some stamps from them. And the star of the show really was the Shenandoah Valley Battlefields National Historic District. We obviously got the most stamps from this historic district and a bunch of places we wouldn't have otherwise gone, so overall, it was a ton of fun to go to these places, and I'm really glad that the stamps inspired us to do that. It was a nice adventure for the week, and hopefully we'll come back and be able to finish out the historic district and get the stamps that we missed. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.